Hey guys, welcome to a casted game. This one is gonna be between Blue, who's from Taiwan, versus Sebastian, who's from Uruguay. And I was watching a lot of games this past week. Usually, what I do is download a lot of games, run through them, pick out the games I can learn from, and try to improve my own gameplay. But I came across one of the games of all time, might be the craziest games I've seen in a while. It's a bit unorthodox. I'm kind of spoiling it away. Chinese versus Lithuanians. Both civilizations have a lot of benefits in it. Chinese being one of the best civs in the current meta. You start with extra villagers. You get to click loom faster, so you already are 2 villages ahead. And Lithuanians have 100 extra food in the start, allows them to get like a very fast uptime. So benefits all around. 100 food almost for free because of the extra villages and the villager collecting resources. Chinese is just one of the best serves in the current game meta. Lithuanian has a lot of benefits on it as well. That's why let's look at the matchup. Starting off with the game, in the south we have in the orange color Blue. I think I'll keep the colors that these guys picked. On Blue we have Sebastian in the north, and they are basically starting their setup. You see like the elo between the guys is pretty close, and it's on the higher side. It's 2600 for Blue and 2800 for Sebastian, so this is a very high level game. Top of the ladder. There's almost very few mistakes you'll see from either of these players, and I'll just point out the things that I see that both of these guys are doing, which I would also try to do in my own game, or maybe some changes in the gameplay that these guys are doing. You see, 2 houses allows the Chinese player after its start to have the 100 word to make the lumber camp, which is what he is going to go for. And then he needs another 100 word to either make a mill or a mining camp so that he can click up to the next stage. He's trying to find out all his resources. His base in the south, kinda safe if he can get this wall and eventually walled from the edge of this forest to the berries. He can have a pretty safe base with the back gold and back stone. Wall something like this, and his base should be pretty easily protected. Sebastian, meanwhile, woodline in the back gold. Maybe there's a potential to wall to this side of the map from this forest, connecting these areas from the right side to the edge of the map. But that's basically the eco setup so far. 3 on wood, rest on food. I'll skip a little bit of the Dark Age. Both of them are just setting up their economy. 2 on wood for Sebastian, so he definitely wants to go up really quickly. 3 on wood for Chinese. Kind of standard. You don't really see anything different from Chinese other than that. And looking at their scouting information, Blue is starting to move out of his base. He has scouted enough of his own resources, found out all his sheeps, pushed all the deers, and at 4 minutes 50 seconds he's leaving his base. If we compare it to Sebastian, Sebastian should be doing exactly the same thing. If I go to his point of view, he's basically pushed all the deers, scouted all the resources next to him, and 5 minutes is your usual move out timing from the base at the highest level when you're done pushing your deers and stuff. So exactly the same start for both of them, I would assume. A big change I'm seeing from Blue's build order so far is that he's going for 4 on wood after opening 3 so that he can get a little bit of extra wood income. Maybe for something that he might see that Sebastian is going to do in a sec. Both of them are scouting. I want to see and follow Sebastian's scouting information for a sec. He sees the wood line and he has clicked up to the next stage. And he's going to soon find out where the berries are, where the gold mine is. Maybe that will influence the decision making. And you see 2 villages already moving towards Blue's base. The click up timing is 18 population, 17 villagers. Meanwhile, Blue clicks up on 21 population with 20 villagers. So far, he has not really seen the wood line. He knows about the berry bushes, but he is going to go for the mana tomb opening. With Chinese, it's pretty difficult to pull off, but it's one of the openings that can be pretty nice. Start of the setup, militia being constructed. Blue doesn't see anything on gold from his point of view, and here comes the barracks on the map. Two villages constructing the barracks. This is going to be a traditional old school forward where you want to make spears and skirmishers to apply a lot of pressure in your opponent's base. The militia are going to go for a counter attack, but you see the movement. Like, you kind of saw what happened here. Why did blue go to the left? He is scouting the entire base. He doesn't see a barracks. He doesn't see anything. He is not seeing villages on gold. He is not seeing villages on stone. He sees there's a few vills on berries and wood, but not enough to actually justify doing anything. So, and the scout is hanging out in the open space. So he's smelling it. Lithuanian also likes to play forward shenanigans. So I think he's just making sure he doesn't die to a forward, which is why he sent his militia to the left, and the scout is going to try to track it. If I go to Sebastian's point of view, he knows probably that this is going to be the militia / mana tombs because he was seeing the flag, and you see him kind of build up his houses in front of his berries in order to protect himself against that. But let's continue forward with the game and see what actually ends up happening. Going from blue's point of view, blue realizes there's a barracks over here. Sebastian is making spearmen. 22 seconds to go. This militia is going to get some hits picked off, and the scout and the spearman will try to trade a little bit of HP before the mana tomb comes in. Sebastian, animation cancelling, moving in and moving out with the scout to get as many hits as possible. One of the spearmen goes down. The scout loses 40% of its HP and only survives with basically 60%. Meanwhile, Sebastian has the scout, which dies to 2 hits from the mana tomb. Spearman is again being targeted, and blue kind of realizes if he tries to make his own skirmishes, he's going to be behind in numbers, and fighting against Lithuanian skirmisher is not that nice because they can always run away and dictate the pace of the fights. So he pulls in the villagers, adds more militia / mana tombs. Mana tombs have a lot of hit points, and having the +1 pierce armor allows them to take only 1 damage from the skirmisher until the skirmishers get fletching. That's when they do 2 damage to the mana tombs. The mana tombs with the scout is pushing away the villagers, the skirmishers, the spearmen, but 3 mana tombs should actually be okay against this. In terms of the hit points, he wanted to commit for that villager, but Sebastian manages to sneak away. We are seeing some house walls on the archery range in order to block off the minimum range for the drop-off point, but he did not commit with enough villagers. Ends up killing another spearman, but loses 3 mana tombs in exchange. So Sebastian is getting to a very nice spot in terms of his defense, where he managed to make enough skirmishes to push away the mana tombs, and he's starting to be in a good spot to actually make enough skirmishes to not be threatened by the mana tombs. Blue realizes he's gonna fall behind in production massively, so he adds a second barracks in order to catch up, trying to make sure he's producing from his town center the entire time. Sebastian trying to do exactly the same thing. 3 more mana tombs have been made, +1 armor is coming in. It honestly doesn't matter. The +1 armor, I would argue, is more for the villager and the spearman, because I mean spearman also does 1 damage, 3 attack, 0 armor. Actually, spearman does full damage. There is no armor for the infantry. I always thought they did 1 damage apiece, but it feels like the 3 damage that you do on the base attack should be good enough. against the Man-at-Arms. It's just the Man-at-Arms do a lot more damage. Blue realizes that he is going to not be able to fight against this since Sebastian is always going to pay attention to this area. He's going to micro his skirmishes. Kiting with Lithuanian skirmishes is very easy compared to the other skirmishes that are available. So Blue goes for a very smart move. He just goes for a counter attack. He's like, I want to actually get value against this army by distracting Sebastian at his base. So we are going to drop a forward tower on Sebastian's economy in order to distract him, maybe make him less attentive with his army in the front. This is one of the things that I think is very good against someone going for aggressive forward shenanigans on you, is that you want to make the multitask at two places, not only on the area that he wants to pay attention to. So counter-attacking at his base definitely is the biggest play that he is trying to go for right now. Sebastian just jumps the tower. He sees the tower from Blue. Blue did not really put his Man-at-Arms and villages together. Sebastian walls him out. Man-at-Arms are trying to buy a little bit of time. 2 villages ahead for Sebastian now. He has basically no idle time on his town center. Meanwhile, double barracks Man-at-Arm production against the skirmishes. This is what I meant, where if you can distract Sebastian in his own base, he is less likely to micro in his front. He's going for double archery range skirmishers now against the Man-at-Arms, but the Man-at-Arms are taking care of all the spearmen, and the tower has been walled in, so it's going to be very difficult for Sebastian to break inside this tower. This zones off this entire front of Sebastian's base. Defensive tower on the other wood line for Sebastian. He does not want this wood line to be threatened. Meanwhile, he's continuing to micro in the front. This is where he's paying attention, and this is where Blue is paying attention. This is a little bit premature. I don't think he has enough Man-at-Arms, but maybe the +1 armor can make the difference. Villages are also being pulled. It's just he's paying attention in the front and in the back. That's why he's making moves like this. Starting to mine stone so that he can drop more towers. Man-at-Arms have been pulled away. These villagers are looking for another wood line or some other resources. But Sebastian realizes that he can maybe force a fight here. He has enough villages to maybe pick off these Man-at-Arms. Blue might realize this is happening. Instead of taking the bait or the engagement, he's just going to run away from this area. Maybe idle a lot of these villages, which he's already doing. While all of that is happening, skirmishes have also been pulled back. The base layout for Blue has been such like it's so difficult to push into this because he has to dive the town center in order to get any value. And meanwhile, the Man-at-Arms are just going for a counter attack. The skirmishes have been pulled back. These 2 villages will die to this attack that is being thrown at him. He's trying to target down that villager. Lithuanian skirmisher with their extra movement speed 1.06 versus your traditional 0.96 for your Man-at-Arms. So that extra 1 movement speed that allows them to 10 extra movement speed allows them to keep up and make the big difference in these engagements. I forgot to say something about the transition. Since Man-at-Arms have bought enough time and majority of the army from Sebastian is skirmishes, Blue decided to go for a stable switch. He's going for double stable scouts with a lot of farms that he added. He has a close to 19 farms compared to Sebastian, who's also like around the same basically. How many farms is he on? I actually have to go to his point of view in order to get it. Can I not? 22 farms. Okay. It took a while. I think I was misclicking something. Meanwhile, the engagement is happening. The skirmishes with the spearmen are trying to push away the scouts. The barracks is being walled in so that no more extra spearmen can be made. 1 more spearman sneaks out. The skirmishes have the +1 armor, the +1 attack, which gives them 1 extra attack against the scouts. So they're doing 1 damage a piece because of the scouts. Fletching doesn't make a big difference. It's mostly for the Manatoms, but the Manatoms also have +1 armor. So they're still doing 1 damage regardless, but having the extra range allows them to shoot a little bit more often than not when they're kiting like this. The skirmishes are being taken care of though, slowly but surely. Third stable is being added. Just a lot of production. Another tower in the front zones off a bunch of farms. And Sebastian's economy is a mess. And he is starting to get snowballed where his spearmen are stuck inside the barracks. He doesn't have a second barracks on the way up. And these skirmish numbers are starting to be whittled down. He's continuing to add more skirmishes, but Blue has been making scouts non-stop, maybe trying to break these palisades in order to free up the spearmen. +1 attack against the skirms, definitely the way to go, because the armor doesn't really make a difference against skirmishes specifically. Forward tower being attempted on the gold mine. Sebastian spots it, pushes it away. That villager goes down. Tower gets deleted. While all of that is happening, double range archer switch. Archers do definitely do 1 extra damage. They're doing 5 damage a piece. And him having only 2 armor, which you get for base scout stats. They are taking 3 damage per hit. All the skirmishers end up dying now, and this is starting to be very problematic for Sebastian. He has nothing that he can use in order to defend against the scout counter attack. I'm still surprised that he did not add a barracks in his own base, but there's so much pressure. Oh, there it is, never mind. There's so much pressure, and he just lost his army in the front. You look at the kill death ratio, it is 62 to 36 in favor of Blue. Blue just managed to kill a lot of cheap skirmishes from Sebastian. He's going to be the first one to up to the next age. He has triple stable, lots of villages on stone, and I think that's basically it. Sebastian is done. He tried his best with forward, but the double barracks Manatom into counter attack to force the skirmishes to go back in the opponent's base, and then you clean up the forward to have him distracted in his base. That is the move I kind of miss in the current meta. You don't really see games like this as often since the maps are very easy to wall up. And Sebastian, for his credit, did try like a more old school way of playing where he applies a lot of pressure. And yeah, light cav switch with siege and monks to heal up your stuff, and siege to kill up the pikemen or something, monks to potentially convert the knights that Sebastian will throw at him, but Sebastian cancels his castle age and recognizes he's just too far behind. Chinese being ahead by almost 2,000 resources going up to the next stage. There's a 10 villager difference between the players. Economy kill death ratio, you can already see. Blue managed to kill 17 villagers to Sebastian's 6. Forward was pretty nice. It was becoming problematic, but Blue's answer for that was just counter attack, make Sebastian busy at his own base, and try to recover the base once Sebastian is distracted enough. That's the move I wanted to showcase. Kind of why I said this is one of the better games I've watched. Most of the other games are more macro oriented, not as much strategic / decision making for counter attacks, but just the big move that he made, which really impressed me, which is why I am making it a casted game. If I find more games like these, and the ones that interest me in terms of anything that is kind of out there, not really as common in terms of high level games, I'll definitely be showcasing them more often from now on. Hope you guys enjoyed my cast, and I'll see you guys next time.